Hello, I'm Dr. Basil Considine. I'm here from the ACU Online Writing Center, and I'd like to bid a special welcome to our new nursing students. There are many things that you'll be doing in the program, many things you'll be learning, things you'll be practicing, and also a lot of resources to help you along the way. And so the intent for this video is to tell you a little bit about some of these things to help you with this first class. Now, when you're taking the Scientific Underpinnings of Research course, this is kind of a gateway course that introduces you to a lot of topics that you'll revisit in more detail later on, and that if you make some decisions now about what you will focus on and how you will channel that inquiry, it will have a profound effect on what you do later. And part of what I mean by that is that if you can become increasingly more specific about what you're interested, what kind of problems you want to tackle, how you want to go about doing that, how you go looking for problems to change, or evidence to inform practice, or whatever it is you use for your eventual DNP project. That focus, that looking ahead at where this will come together, and understanding that these aren't just arbitrary assignments, but they are things that build towards working on this for your DNP project manuscript. It will significantly speed up and ease the time that you have. Now, this is a gateway webinar. It is, like the course, designed to introduce you to a lot of things. Something you might want to know, you should always take a look on our website for the most current schedule for different webinars. We'll look at that in a moment. But if you are new to ACU and you're not sure what the Online Writing Center does or who can go there, well, let's start there. So the Online Writing Center exists to support students such as yourselves. We are free of charge. We do not take money from students. There's no deposit or no fee or anything like that. Every student, just about in our online programs, can sign up for an appointment. These come in a couple of different flavors. One is you can request an asynchronous appointment. An asynchronous appointment means you schedule a time. By that time, you upload a copy of your paper along with any questions you have. And then our staff will look at it and send you feedback via email in the next 24 hours. So if you have a 9 p.m. appointment, then by 9 p.m. the next day, you should have feedback from us. Now, sometimes you might be looking to ask questions in real time. So you might email us and request a phone or Zoom appointment to ask these in a synchronous or real-time appointment. That's fine. I would say tell us as much as you can. Sometimes it's just, I want to talk through things, and that's fine. But if it's how do I do X, let us know, because we might have a resource for that, or we might be able to answer your question right away. We get questions all the time coming in, so don't worry about that. We've seen all sorts of questions, and the worst question is one that you wish you asked, but you don't. We also have a ton of other resources, some of which I'll be showing you today. But let's start by saying that all of our webinars are recorded and posted online. So when we have a webinar, of course, you can watch it in real time as it happens and ask questions. But if you miss it or if you have to leave partway through, not a problem. You can always watch it online. So let's take a look now at that schedule. And before I bring up the website, I want to say that the website has several different areas that deal with how to access the webinars. And I'm going to show you in a moment this particular one. This is our program guide. It is something I added to the website last year, and we've had a lot of students tell us, oh, this makes it so easy to find things for my course. So just look for your program, in this case, NURS DNP, and this will show you those courses. And to illustrate that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up that website now. Now, as you can see, I am on the Nursing 612 website here in Canvas. And if I go to Online Writing Center, this will take us to the Writing Center's Canvas site eventually. But when I open this link, after the login, will land here. So this is our landing page. So the landing page is from where you go to get to the different things. So we have integrated our sign-in system so that there's no separate password or no separate username, but we have the scheduling system. I'd recommend watching this video where our director will show you how to do it. You can click on this link to schedule an appointment, send us an email for a question, or head, in this case, to the regular Writing Center website as opposed to the Canvas site that you submit your appointment paper to. So here we are on the Online Writing Center website, and there's a lot of stuff here. If you look at About, you can look at us and about our background. Some people like to ask someone who's a specialist in that program, and some people like to ask a question of someone who has a similar background, and we've got a little bit of information to help you see those things if that's something that is of interest to you. Also, different pages about the different things we offer and resources on APA and other topics. But in our case right now, we are going to go over to writing webinars. So as you can see at the top of the page here, we have a list of upcoming webinars. And for the Spring 1 term, you see we're already started offering some things here. And that as each webinar is offered, we will add the video link here. So if you miss something, you can always come back and catch it. We normally have that video posted within 24 hours of the webinar. All right. Now, if we continue down, we'll get to the end of the term eventually. And here's where that catalog I mentioned is, because we have two things. There's the list of the webinars that are occurring this semester, and down at the bottom we have an alphabetical list of the webinars. Now, we got a lot of webinars. We've been adding new ones all the time on specific courses, specific tasks, and things like that. So the course guide allows you to zero in on exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking for information on dissertations and doctoral projects, we have some webinars specifically about that. If you're looking for stuff related to your coursework and you're in the nursing program, head on over to this nursing DNP link. And we see that there are a couple general webinars here, as well as stuff for courses in the order that the courses are taken. So 612, 621, 622, so on and so forth. And as we add new courses with specific webinars, they get added to this page. So let's take a look here at the correspondence here. So if we head over to the Nursing 612 site, and we go ahead and go to, in this case, we are going to the modules. So we've got reading coming up, of course, and orientation. You've got some discussion to participate in. Okay. But eventually we're going to get to the main assignments, not the preliminaries, the week 0 to make sure you understand the rules, but you're turning in things for a grade now. And this very first one is the week 1 assignment 1 PICO question. So students sometimes ask me, so how can I find if there is something related to my assignment here? And I would say, first, go ahead and go to the webinar catalog. And we have sorted these in the order that they come up in the classes. So here we have, PICO questions. Right? You can watch 2 videos about that, actually. What about week 2? Well, week 2, theory, development, and locating evidence. Oh, an assignment about locating and synthesizing the evidence. And as it happens, we have a webinar on that. And you'll see that we are tagging these with the full written out name of the assignment. So you should be able to find that. For some of our older webinars, as we may have used a different format, but we are updating those as we spot them. You can see, okay, for this course, there's something for week 1, the PICO questions. There's something for week 2. There's something for week 4 here. So let's take a look at week 3 here. Synthesis table. So synthesis tables are a helpful tool for keeping track of your notes. Now, eventually you will be writing up the information from your synthesis table into paragraphs. And usually people don't have trouble with the table. The table is pretty straightforward. So we have passed over that one to how you start using that information. Now let's just say you get to the synthesis portion and you say, well, okay, what do you mean by synthesis exactly? And there's some of that in here, but one of the hallmarks of our program is that we build your knowledge over time and we revisit these in greater detail. So I would recommend that you do a search on this page for synthesis. So I'm using a Mac here. The shortcut for a web page search, a search of the text on this web page, is Command F. If you're on a Windows computer, it's going to be Control F. But if I search for synthesis, it will show me, Tuesday the 8th, we've got a webinar coming up on adding analysis and synthesis, but that's February 8th. So maybe you want something a little bit sooner. Well, I can repeat that search. You can use these arrows in the upper right-hand corner, or you can just hit Command G or Control G, depending on if you're Mac or PC. See, okay, there's a one about synthesis and annotated bibliographies. We talked about that. Self-assessment, so that's for a different course, but you might have what you're looking for. And now, remember that webinar that's on February 8th? Well, here it is again in our catalog of past things. This is one of our most popular webinars because synthesis is needed so much in graduate level writing. And so we've given you several different videos because some people really like being able to revisit in a slightly different way to help get some of the principles to stick. So if that sounds like you, awesome, great. But we have more too, so you could continue that search and see, talking about personal belief, which comes up for some of our students in the projects they work on. Here is one for the EDD program. You might decide to skip that. Here's in counseling, conflict resolution, writing about history. And so now we've gone full circle here. So you see that we've checked it out. We've spotted a couple things that might be interesting to you now, or you might be waiting till you get to that later in the program. But if synthesis is something you want some help with, we got that. All right, so this next one, week 4, and we won't do everything, but enough to show you how to go about finding things. So week 4, integrating the theoretical framework. So theoretical frameworks are very important things, and they're also a source of a lot of confusion because you have the general term theoretical framework, which refers to how you go about deciding what is important. And that can be used in a general sense, or it can be used to refer very specifically to a way of looking at things that is based on something that has been developed into a theory, or more than one theory, as opposed to a conceptual framework, which can use more than one thing, perhaps a quiz, a model, something that's not quite progressed to the point of being a theory yet. And so this is something where if you were looking for this, same web page, we see, theoretical, it came right up. There's a webinar specifically on that. Maybe you do the assignment and say, well, I didn't quite get that. I'd like a little bit more. Can I find some more? And in fact, we have more webinars about this because it's something that comes back in different assignments, in different courses. And indeed, it comes up in writing your DMP project. And so theoretical frameworks, we've got multiple resources on that. Some of them are focused on the more general part. Some are introducing the concept. Some are looking at it through the lens of a particular assignment. In this case, because we have this tie-in with this specific course assignment, then I would start with this. But if you want more, as you can see, we've got more here. All right, we'll do one more here. Literature review. So literature reviews are something that can easily grow out of control if you don't set good boundaries on it about what exactly you're doing, what you're interested in, and why you're prioritizing that. So literature reviews, if we search for that here, we will find that there are a variety of things here, including one for Nursing 701, which parallels some of the things in Nursing 612. Here's one looking at literature review in another assignment, how to write a more concise lit review. While this one happens to focus on a particular subject matter that's a little outside of nursing, it's certainly something where the principles are still applicable. And so we see that there are a variety of resources here. We've got lots of stuff on literature reviews. So if you are looking for help with a particular issue and you're not sure which one to watch, you can always send us an email and we'll give you a recommendation, because there are lots of other people before you've had questions about this. Don't worry. Think about it as what you would do in your professional setting, and you ask help because you need help. There should not be any stigma that. It is a good sign to know when you need more information, and if that's something that we can provide, awesome. All right, so I wanted to also show a couple other resources. So if we go to resources here and go to APA 7, you will see that we have a variety of resources, including a course paper template that simplifies a lot of the formatting, that makes it possible to start off with a lot of the paper looking the way it should, and to easily maintain the APA 7 required formatting. And we have some things that you can use for specific assignments, where, for example, where you're doing SWOT analysis. Now, we've got other resources here, cheat sheets of common rules. We have answers to questions, links to other resources if you want to delve into it. But the paper template is where most people start, because it helps you internalize what the paper is supposed to look like. Now, continuing on, we have sample papers for some programs. Now, for the nursing programs, these are all building towards eventually your DNP project. So we have an example here of a DNP capstone from another institution, but we also have other things that you can use here, because all ACU DNP projects are posted online. So how do you find that? Well, if you search for ETD, which is Electronic Theses and Dissertations, ETD and ACU.edu, it comes right up. Electronic Theses and Dissertations at Abilene Christian University. And so if I go to this website, and you can go ahead and just look at everything that's here. We could search for something from a particular program. This looks like it's a nursing related thing. And we see, in fact, it is a DNP project. It was defended and submitted, and the degree awarded in October 2021. Awesome. And you can browse here, or just use this link here to download. And one of the great advantages of looking down the line at what these assignments will turn into is that you can look and see, okay, so they have a theoretical framework section. What does that read as? And see, oh, the theoretical framework I used was, and then they list this out. All right. And so you can see that the section is relatively concise. It is about a page, so that's enough to tell you what is going on and why it's being used. And that is often all you need. You can also take a look at the table of contents with the specific goal of seeing, okay, so what is needed? And if you draw the boundaries very tightly around your project, you can have a very short and manageable literature review, because the overall length is not so much the concern. It's, is it of appropriate depth for what you have chosen to do? And for some things, there's more literature and so other things there's not. You can see that much of this focuses on the methods here, which is a great way to look at it when you get to your methodology sections. And you can also look and see, all right, their PICO question. So remember that first assignment is looking at that research question, the PICO question. So let's take a look at what this particular completed project used for it. Now, there are many others from ACU and other institutions that you can find online for examples, but I think it's always helpful to see, oh, this is something that was produced here, and here's what that reads as. So the PICO format breaks this down into different categories to specify what we're dealing with. So population, in this case, parents of children hospitalized in the NICU and PICU. Intervention, they're looking at participation in stress-reducing techniques provided by the caregiver wellness services to reduce parental stress in the NICU and PICU. Comparison, or how are they finding out whether things are changing, or parent stress level is being measured prior to participating in stress-reducing techniques, and they're comparing it with the stress level after those services are given. And then the outcome, or what they're tracking, and after that, what they're looking to see happen, they're aiming to reduce parental stress scores. Okay, so this is the breakdown of the information that's being explored, but you can see that it consolidates into a much more concise question. What impact does participation in stress-reducing techniques have on the parent's stress level during their child's hospitalization in neonatal or pediatric intensive care units? And then you can see that this is restated as a hypothesis. Now, because this project is now done, it can be restated in past tense. They hypothesized that they would be reduced. But back when they were doing this, when they were first proposing this, the hypothesis being tested was probably in the form like, parental stress levels will be reduced after receiving stress-reducing techniques. All right, so looking ahead to the assignment with the theoretical framework, you can see, all right, they chose a framework that aligns with the PICO question, what the question they're trying to answer. Well, the interaction model of client health behavior, well, we're looking at, can an interaction between the staff and the parents reduce their stress? So great alignment there between the two. And you'll see that there's justification of what was being done and how that aligned with the model. Great. All right, so let's take a trip back to the Online Writing Center website here. So you can see resources. We have a number of other things if you want to delve into particulars of paragraph writing, or you say you're advised that you want to work on your grammar. Great, we've got resources there. People use that at all levels, so please don't feel that it's not something for you if it's something that you think might help you. Have more sample papers, figures, and tables. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and look at some stuff on the APA Style website. So APA Style is a free website run by the American Psychological Association, from which we get the name APA Style. And so they have included a couple examples here of how papers might look following their guides. And we see that they have some specific handouts there, and also one of the most helpful resources for students who are new to APA Style. Go to Style and Grammar Guidelines. And we have things on various writing topics. But let's go ahead and look at references. Because references are where people often struggle if they're not familiar with APA Style or if they've been out of school for a while. Basic idea, in APA Style, you always need to indicate where the information came from. And to do that, you include your citation and you include a reference. Let's take a look here. So this is the basic principles of reference lists. Who wrote it? When was it published? What's it called? How do you get it? And here we have an example of a reference entry that has that information there. And when we're citing it, we include a parenthetical citation, like here. Author and the year that was published, author and the year it was published. Now, if we go to the reference examples section, so once you have a source you want to reference, the next step is to figure out what type of reference it is. So are you looking at something that was published in an academic journal? Then it's probably looking at journal article here. If you're looking something in a book where there's an editor and multiple authors for different chapters, then we'd head over to chapter in an edited book. So one of the advantages of this website is that if you're not sure, you can always just check. Now, there are many more examples in the APA 7 manual, but if you're just doing a quick check to make sure you got it right, great. So let's head over to journal article references. You can see that there are a couple different cases here, but the most common are listed at the top. So we see the authors, the publication year, the title of the article, title of the journal, journal volume number, issue number, page range, and then a DOI, a link that will always let us find where that article is. You can see how this would be cited. So if in doubt, look it up. If you're still not sure afterwards, send us an email, and we'll see if we can clear this up for you. All right, let's bring things back to the Writing Center website now. So this online Writing Center link here in every course will take you to the portal here on LifeRay. You can see this link here to get to our main website. You can see links for scheduling appointments, about the appointments, and videos. All right, so if you are following the links to our scheduling system, eventually you'll end up at our Canvas website. And I do recommend bookmarking this website. I will have a few more options than you do here, but if we move over to the student view, you'll see that it's actually much more concise. You can link to make an appointment, announcements, and modules. That's it. So when after you've scheduled an appointment, you can go ahead and submit. And so this will take you to a chronological list of the different things for submission. And we're right at the point where we're starting a new term, so we'll have some new links up here soon. And yeah. All right. So once again, we are very happy to have you joining us here at ACU. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to send us an email at onlinewritingcenter@acu.edu. You can schedule an appointment for feedback, browse the resources on our website. And with that, I bid you welcome and good night.